Welcome back to Sports Extra. CSU Pueblo basketball player Alisha Little is the daughter of former Bronco Andra Davis. When she was little, as she puts it, she wasn't very good, but that's not the case anymore. In fact, Little is one of the best basketball players ever to come out of the state of Colorado and to play women's college basketball in our state. What was the first sport you played?
The first sport I played was soccer. I want to say I was in kindergarten.
Okay.
Something like that, but yeah.
Were you any good?
My parents said I used to take the ball from my teammates a lot, so I wouldn't say I was very good, but
So you were a ball hog.
I was.
Now are you a ball hog in basketball?
I try not to be, It's something I try to pass a lot and get everybody involved, but.
What age did you start playing basketball?
I was in 6th grade.
Oh, really?
Right, so.
And when you started, was it like, this is my thing, or were you not sure?
Not at all. My parents made us play sports, actually, and so when I started playing basketball, it was a journey for sure. I was no good at it, but I was super tall, always been the tallest in my class, boys, girls, everything, so.
So considering all the success you've had, do you ever think back to that time in 6th grade where, as you put it, you weren't very good?
I do, and then there's a lot of videos, your parents always recording. And I remember there's a video, I'm just getting rebounds, throwing the ball back up there. It had to be like 6 missed layups in a row. But just going from that to this, it's been a blessing.
Well, looking at your stats, it seems like you do it all. You're not just a one-dimensional player. You rebound, you block shots, you play defense. There's a long list of accolades, and we were talking before we started this, and you were saying that you've never expected to show up on any list. Now that you are on these lists, what are your thoughts?
It's an honor for sure. I think it's just something that kind of happened. Like I said, it's nothing I expected.
Are you one of those, like, when you get on the court, it's a different Alisha versus the one that I'm talking to right now?
I would say yes. It's something I'm working on because, I never want to come off as too mean.
And you mentioned your parents, your father, Andra Davis, who played linebacker for the Broncos. Do you remember those days at all?
I do, and I think that kind of feeds into the competitiveness as well, because just being able to watch him prepare all the time, and, he was gone at practice a lot and then on the road. So just knowing that it takes a lot to get to be the best version of yourself, in his case on the field, but mine on the court. So just learning from him was really impactful.
What do you remember about going to Bronco games?
I just remember how loud it was, to be honest. It's just such a great atmosphere. You have all those fans, Bronco country, and just I think that was the fun part for me, is just always being able to see my dad out there and be cheering him on, and then hearing everybody else cheering for the team as well.
Not to knock anyone who puts athletics above education, but you did the opposite. Why is that so important to you?
That's also something that both of my parents preached to us from a young age. I would say especially my mom. She's always made sure that we were in our books. Our grades were always a priority. Like 4.0s were expected. So I think that's just always been a thing. Yeah.
You have a daughter, Genesis. We had 2 years ago. You missed basketball that season when you had her. How has she impacted your life, and how has she put things in perspective for you?
Wow. I think having her has been life-altering, Obviously, sitting out that year was tough, and trying to come back, but I think she's definitely changed my mentality, and even my personality. I think that now I have an even bigger reason to try to pour into this part of it, because I know she's going to see this one day, and I want her to be able to be like, wow, like my mom did all these things, and to find motivation in that,
And you and your husband, Malcolm, how have you been able to, because you're still a college student, and you're playing high-level basketball, and you have a daughter to care for, how are you and your husband kind of juggling everything, I guess?
I would say, we just have a lot of support. And then just making sure that we sit down. Communication, is a key in marriage, but especially in this situation, just making sure we're always on the same page.
And now you're in the nursing program here at CSU Pueblo, and you mentioned eventually you want to get the pediatric side of it. Having your daughter, did that maybe enforce that belief or that thought even more?
I would say so. You know, I've always been passionate about caring for women and children, but after having my daughter, you know, children are just a joy. They bring so much life to everything, you know. So.
And when you talk about it, you have a sparkle in your eye. So much like the passion you have for basketball, this is your other passion. Am I right?
Definitely. It's something I've always wanted to do for as long as I can remember. So I'm really excited about it, and you know, only a couple classes left until I'm out there in that world. So.
Talk about being able to do it all. Alisha Little getting it done in the classroom and on the basketball court. I'm sure she's going to break some more records. She's been one of the best players ever in the state of Colorado, but I think the best is yet to come. Best of luck to Alisha Little and the CSU Pueblo women's basketball team. Well, that does it for this edition of Sports Extra. We'll see you next week at 10:35 for another installment of Sports Extra right here on KRDO 13.